Ang mensahe nito sa lahat ng legislators, no, kasi kami yung gumagawa ng polisiya is that, and also the executive who may want to formulate policies and programs, you can be as creative as you want, and can be as determined as you want, but you have to operate within the bounds of the law. It is always the law. First and foremost, our Constitution, and then the body of laws that we have promulgated as a republic. So yun lang, batas lang dapat ang manaig. Yun ang message ko. Lumabas tayo unilaterally from the ICC. I think it's about time bumalik tayo sa ICC. At ipakita natin sa buong mundo na ang itong bansang ito ay gumagalang sa ating mga batas at sa mga international laws. Wala pong masama doon, mga kababayan. Good morning to everyone. Medyo exciting mga developments ngayong araw na ito, and I hope I'll be able to clarify some issues with you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's take the first question from Marian Enriquez of TV5.
Ma'am, I understand. I hope you've been monitoring then for what's happening right now, this airport, and the arrest po of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Would you like to comment on that?
As of the moment, all I know is that we cannot really call it an arrest. Wala naman sinasabi pa ang PNP. He's under the custody of the PNP. I think it would be, is it confirmed? Okay. Okay. Can you read the statement from Malacanang? Kasi as we're holding this press con, nagkakaroon ng developments.
Yung PCO statement po, kaninang madaling araw natanggap ng Interpol Manila ang official copy ng warrant of arrest mula sa International Criminal Court. Ika 9:20 ng umaga ngayong araw, 11 Marso 2025, ang dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte at ang kanyang grupo ay dumating sa Maynila mula Hong Kong sakay ng Cathay Pacific CX-907. Sa kanyang pagdating, inihain ng Prosecutor General ng ICC notification para sa isang arrest warrant sa dating Pangulo para sa krimen laban sa sangkatauhan. Ang dating Pangulo at ang kanyang grupo ay nasa mabuting kalusugan at sinuri ng mga doktor ng gobyerno. Sinigurado na siya ay nasa maayos na kalagayan. Ang mga opisyal ng PNP na nagpatupad ng warrant ay tiniyak na may suot na body camera. Sa ngayon, nasa kustodiya na siya ng mga kinaukulan.
Okay. So it's officially confirmed. It's an arrest. By the PNP in collaboration, I would say, with the Interpol, acting upon a warrant of arrest issued by the ICC on charges of crimes against humanity. We can say at the moment is that this is proof that the Philippines is a country that respects the rule-based order in the world and that we uphold the rule of law. Nobody is above the law. And as a nation that prides itself in respecting that rules-based order around the world, wala tayong choice kundi mag-cooperate. Sa nakaraan, nakapag-cooperate rin naman sa atin ng Interpol, even in sa paghahanap kay Alice Go. So, ganun talaga. Isa tayong komunidad ng nations and we just have to respect the rule of law, hindi lamang sa ating bansa, kundi sa buong mundo.
Ma'am, si former President Rodrigo Duterte po would seat as one of the legal counsel po ni VP Sara Duterte if mag-start na raw po yung impeachment trial. How would this affect po maybe the defense or the camp of VP Sara Duterte?
I think the defense team of VP Sara would be in a better position to answer that. I would surmise that they would find another person. Hindi lang naman si former president ang nag-volunteer na tumayo bilang abogado ni VP Sara doon sa impeachment trial. Marami sabi nila na abogado rin. So I think sila dapat ang maglinaw nito.
Okay, Marian. Next questions from Melalis Moras of PTV4.
Ma'am, follow up lang po muna dun sa about kay former President Duterte. Kasi isa yung yung House Squad Committee na isa sa mga committee ng joint panel dito sa Kamara, yung mga tumutok din sa issue ng war on drugs na sila yung isa sa mga nilapitan ng mga biktima, EJK victims family. Sa tingin niyo po, gaano kalaking tulong na naungkat sa House Quad Committee hearing itong mga isyong ito para magkaroon ng ganitong resulta nga na umabot na sa arrest ngayong araw?
Ang investigasyon doon sa partisipasyon ng dating Pangulo sa mga alleged crimes against humanity doon sa war against drugs, lalong-lalo doon sa mga extrajudicial killings, actually nag-start yan as early as January or February of 2018. Merong human rights groups na nag-file ng case sa ICC. Now, ano ba ang partisipasyon ng Quadcom? Magmula nung nagsimula yung Quadcom, October 2024, marami tayong nadiskubre. Mga bagay-bagay na nakakalungkot, nagkaroon ng tinig yung mga biktima nitong war against drugs, yung mga EJKs, nagkaroon ng tinig ang mga pamilya ng mga biktima. And I would say that actually strengthened the case against the former president. And during those hearings, by his own admission, the former president also mentioned that he did have a role, that he did order many of the killings. In fact, I couldn't believe it when I heard and I saw it on television na talagang sinabi niya na nagpapapatay siya. Sabi ko nga, I mean, that's counterintuitive for a person to actually admit his guilt. So, I would say na malaki ang ambag ng Quadcom sa paglikom ng ebidensya at ng mga pruweba na magagamit sa kaso na to sa ICC.
Any message po, ma'am, sa mga pamilya ng mga biktima rin, ng mga, ito nga, finally, ito kasi ever since, kahit yung mga na-interview po namin na umaattend sa hearing, ito po yung hearing nila, sana talagang magkaroon na ng hustisya dito. Ano pong mensahe nyo dito sa mga pamilya at mga biktima ng umano'y EJK?
Ang masasabi ko lang sa mga pamilya ng biktima ng EJKs ay ito. Bilog ang mundo. And sooner or later, we'll have all to face justice, face the music. We heard you. We know how you feel. And dito sa House of Representatives, hindi naman po kami manhid sa pananawagan ng mga biktima ng EJK para sa magkamit ng katarungan. Kami po naman gumagawa ng batas. Ang unang-unang kumikilala ng kahalagahan ng isang rule-based order, ng kahalagahan ng the rule of law. Para pa kami gagawa ng batas kung kami mismo hindi namin kikilalanin na dapat manaig lagi ang batas. Alam nyo, iniisip ko, siguro humantong din sa panahon, ilang taon na nakaraan magmula noon, na nawawala ng pag-asa yung mga pamilya ng mga biktima. Alam niyo naman, sa ating bansa, it is widely believed at nasasaksihan din natin na minsan the wheels of justice turn very slowly. And marahil sa pamamagitan ng ICC, hindi na nga isang local court na nag-hear nito, ay magkakaroon ng katarungan ang ating mga biktima, no? So, may due process. Of course, the former president is innocent until proven guilty. He will also have his chance to explain his side. So, this is how justice works. This is how the rule of law works. Both sides are heard. Kaya nga, wag muna tayo magkaroon ng premature judgments. So let us let the ICC come up with its own judgment based on the evidence that is presented by both sides. There are always two sides to a coin. But ang punto lang dito, mahalaga para sa amin dito sa House of Representatives, at nakikita ko naman po ang effort ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Ito'y bagay na kinikilala ng buong mundo upang itatag ang isang sistemang nakabase sa mga batas.
Opo. Sorry about sa anak naman po ni former President Duterte. Sa isang statement kasi ni Palace Press Briefer, Yusek Claire Castro, nasabi po niya na about po ito sa sinabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte na na-scam siya ng Unity. Ang sabi po ni Yusek Castro, kung na-scam po siya ng Unity, isn't it the other way around? Hindi naman po siguro inakala din ng miyembro o ng mga miyembro ng Unity na mabilis magagastos ni VP Sara yung 125 million pesos confidential funds in just 11 days. Hindi naman po siguro inisip yon at nagbigay ng tiwala sa kanya. Kayo po, ma'am, ano pong masasabi niyo dito? Do you agree with Yusek Castro po?
I think that's another issue, no, yung sa paggastos in 11 days ng confidential files na 125 million. I'm trying to understand where VP Sara is coming from when she said na na-scam siya ng administrasyon. Maybe she had a set of expectations nung nanalo yung unit team na hindi na-meet. Ano ba yung mga expectations niya? Pero ako naniniwala ako, before you expect something from somebody, you should also be willing to give what you demand. I remember, nung panahon ni President Duterte, he demanded almost blind loyalty sa lahat ng partido. Mula sa legislative, sa Kongreso, sa Senado, sa House of Representatives, lahat, mga LGUs, gusto niya lahat sumusunod at sumusuporta sa kanya. And I understand kung bakit. Talaga naman pagpasok ng isang administrasyon, dapat sinusuporta ng lahat. Bigyan natin ng pagkakataon, pakita kung paano nila ipapatupad ang kanilang mga programa, kung paano nila ma-reach at maaabot ang mga pinapangarap nila para sa ating bansa, yung kanilang development plan, kung meron man. They demanded it. Up to the point na sometimes nahaharas na yung mga perceived political enemies nila. I call to mind former Senator Laila de Lima, also former Mayor of Iloilo, Jed Mapilog, and so many others who have been harassed simply because pinagbintangan silang critic of the government, pinaghinalaan pa lang on the basis of suspicion na de-destroy na yung reputation ng tao. No? So, bakit ganon? Nung naupo naman si VP Sara, nakita ko parang very antagonistic na yung kanyang attitude towards President Marcos. Alam niyo, tatapatin ko kayo. Pinaglaban ko tong love team na to ang unit team. Umasa ako na sana sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaisa, may susulong natin ang ating bansa. Kasi nakakapagod na rin ibang-ibang administrasyon, laging antagonistic towards the previous administration, or vice versa. Sabi ko, makakabuti itong pagkakaisa, no? Pinaglaban natin itong unit team. Pero katulad ng isang relasyon, hindi lang naman pwedeng isang bahagi ang nag-e-effort. Nakita ko naman, may effort kay Pangulong Marcos to incorporate and to involve VP Sara. She was given so many prerogatives, even beyond her position as Vice President, in recognition of her position, out of respect for her position. Pero anong sinukli? Bigla na lang may investigation ng mga senador na aligned with the Vice President kung gumagamit ng droga ang ating presidente. Saan ka naman nakarinig ng ganon? What if that happened during the previous administration? That was unimaginable, di ba? Pero ang bait ng Pangulo, tumahimik lang siya. Maybe hoping na baka naman mag-reach out sa kanya si VP Sara. Ganun ang relasyon, umaasa ka pa rin Tapos, the next thing I know, napagmasdan naman natin, she was already making declarations na gusto daw niyang pilipitin yung leeg ng Pangulo. Dahil hindi daw nagbigay ng relo doon sa isang graduation. Bakit trabaho ba ng presidente mamigay na relo? What if regalo ng misis niya yun? Lagot siya pag pinamigay niya yun. Diba? Napakababaw na dahilan. Tapos, humantong na sa puntong pati buhay ng Pangulo. Pinagbabantaan. Pati ng kanyang asawa. Pati ni Speaker Martin. I mean, tapos ngayon nagda-demand ka. But you're not willing to give what you're demanding. And now you're saying ikaw ang iniwan. At sinasabi mo ikaw ang na-scam. Parang may mali naman yata doon sa declaration na yun. There's something inaccurate about it.
Opo. Sorry ma'am. Follow up lang po. Sinabi rin kasi niya dun sa isang niyang speech sa Hong Kong. Pasalamat sa suporta sa aking mga kasamahan, program, proyekto sa Office of the Vice President dahil kayo lang ang sumusuporta sa OVP. Ang buong gobyerno, iniwan na po ang OVP. Maraming salamat. Kayo po ba, tingin nyo yung sinabi nga niya na the entire government has abandoned the OVP amid the ongoing feud with President Marcos? Sa tingin nyo, accurate po ba to? Do you agree with her?
I don't agree with her. Just like any other government agency that has to pass through the scrutiny of Congress sa budget season and hindi exempt ang OVP. And as you have seen, parang tumanggi na lang talaga siya It seems that she did not feel like answering any of the questions raised by my colleagues during the budget hearing. And when you cannot account for your budget spent in the past years, how can you have the moral authority to ask for more? It's not that. The Office of the Vice President continues to function and should continue to function. I remember former VP Lenny, her office functioned with a much less budget, a smaller budget than what VP Sara has received. And alam nyo, ang trabaho naman talaga ng Vice President is basically to be there in case incapacitated ang President o mawala ang Pangulo. So, binigyan siya ng functions that go beyond her real functions as stated by the Constitution, and she should have been thankful for that. So, kung merong bare minimum na tanggap ang Office of the Vice President, that hardly constitutes abandonment because it will continue to function and follow its mandate based on the Constitution.
Okay po. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mela. Pandro Chona from Billionaire TV.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning. How do we make out na today, this month is Women's Month, and merong allegations of the former president being a misogynist and mothers suffering after losing their children because of the drug war? Can we consider it as a big win, or can we consider it as a win, knowing that yung may mga allegations nga na ganun po sa former president and being arrested today?
Alam niyo, hindi sa pagiging bias dahil chair ako ng Committee on Women and Gender Equality. But the fact of the matter is that in situations of conflict, in war, it is always the women and the children who suffer more. And I believe nothing can surpass the pain of a mother losing a child. Lahat ng kanyang pangarap, lahat ng yung buhay ng kinitil, ang kinabukasan ng batang nawawala, ng kanyang anak. Maaring i-argue ng ibang tao na mga drug addict naman yan, how sure are you? Alam nyo, sa totoo, and we should all be aware of this, na wala namang akusado ang guilty until proven guilty. They're all presumed innocent. And these people will deny due process. Kaya nga, lagi naming pinagpipilitan at lagi naming dinidiin na mahalaga ang rule of law. Alam nyo, nung panahon ng war against drugs, maraming Pilipino ang tila baga sumusuporta dito. And maybe this is born out of frustration dahil marami siguro nabibiktima rin ng mga drug addicts, no? But, that said, dapat din natin malaman na meron namang pamamaraan na sang-ayon sa batas na maaring gawin upang labanan ang droga. Hindi naman pwedeng you will totally ignore our existing laws, the judicial process, just so you can obtain your goals. The end does not justify the means. And alagay ko napapatunayan naman natin yan ngayon eh. There are other ways of fighting against drugs. And in fact, I think mas long-term ang results kapag faceted and multi-pronged ang approach natin. It's a matter of values education, also fighting poverty. It's also about more information dissemination, more awareness campaigns, and of course, ang ating kapulisan. Alam nyo, naniniwala ako sa dangal ng mga pulis eh. When you turn the police force into just guns for hire, nakaka-insulto yun sa dangal ng mga pulis. Alam nyo, mataas ang tingin natin sa ating kapulisan. Tanungin nyo ang mga ordinaryong mga batang Pilipino, anong gusto mo anak pagtanda mo? Anong sagot? Gusto ko maging police, nay. Gusto ko maging police, tay. Why? Because superhero sila sa mga mata ng bata. And this is precisely the reason why we cannot turn our police force into private army na mga guns for hire that will carry out your orders that are in obviously violations of our existing laws. So mabalik ako sa tanong mo, no, tungkol sa Women's Month at mga kababaihan. I think this is also a moral victory for women, especially for those mothers, for those wives, for those daughters who have lost a loved one because people have decided to ignore the rule of law.
Ma'am, if in case dalhin na po sa The Hague ang dating Pangulo, Sa tingin niyo po, may mensahe po kaya kayo dun sa kanyang supporters? Kasi for sure, tensions will, emotions will rise up. Ano po sa tingin niyo kaya yung dapat na maging perspektibo ng mga Pilipino sa ngayon?
Kung hindi kayo naniniwala sa mga local courts, at least bigyan nyo ng chance naman ng ICC. Look at this as a chance for the former president to air his side. Yung hindi tayo nananatili sa duda. If he truly believes that he is innocent of the charges, I'm sure he'll come up with evidence to prove so, no? Now, it will depend on the judges sa ICC kung madedeclare siyang guilty or innocent. So let's give time to due process also. And you just have to trust the process too.
Ma'am, hindi rin po ba ironic na we're giving the person who deprived due process to a lot of Filipinos who died during the war on drugs, and yet we're giving him all the due process right now? How do we make out of that?
Well, because we always have to take the higher moral ground. If as a nation and as a government, we claim to respect the rule of law, then we should be the first ones to observe it. Naniniwala ako na when we say na kailangan may due process, kailangan may rule of law, igagalang din natin ito. At sabi ko nga, the former president is innocent until proven guilty. Let the ICC do its work. The president, I'm sure, the former president has a team of lawyers as well, and whatever evidence he want to present, he will do it at the ICC. So, masaklap pakinggan, di ba, na parang it's ironic, pero hindi tayo ganon. We take the higher moral ground, and this is the only way we can have moral authority to actually talk about the rule of law when we actually practice it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sandro. Earl Tobias from IBC 13.
Ma'am, good morning. Ma'am, with the arrest of FPRRD, in your point of view po, what does this mean naman dun sa mga sangkot na dun sa kanyang eskema o polisiya na nadiskubre na rin ng Quadcom? We have Garma, we have Grijaldo, na of course, iniimbestigahan pa rin and pinag-aaralan yung ilang case build-up with them in our local law enforcement, national law enforcement naman. Ano po kaya sa tingin ninyo yung president na sineset nito? Does it mean na parang kung si FPRRD nga hindi nakalusot sa rule of law, of course, dapat in common sense, dapat yung mga sangkot din sa polisiya niya may imbestigahan, ma'am.
Yes, everybody who was involved in that war against drugs and the EJ case may have some degree of culpability. And but what comes to mind right now is yung command responsibility. You know, there are claims that guilt is only personal. But what about, I don't know, in cases like kidnapping, hindi ba ang mastermind meron ding degree of culpability? The brains behind that policy, the man who designed that policy, dapat meron siyang responsibility rin sa usapin na ito. Now, with regards to the others, I don't know, nandiyan din yung ating mga local prosecutors. Usually kasi nariningan kong mga kaso sa ICC is yung mga prominent figures talaga eh. Even dun sa mga war crimes, usually mga national figureheads. I don't know why, no? But I guess this is also the nature of the ICC. Kasi nga, the ICC was established to reaffirm the importance of a rules-based order around the world, no? Aside from obtaining justice for the victims, parang statement din to sa buong mundo na kailangan mahalaga na panaigyan ng batas sa lahat ng kaso, no? Kung tayo ay civilized country, kung tayo ay civilized community of nations.
Thank you, ma'am. Last na po. You mentioned the message to the world or statement to the world yung parang nangyari. Maghahalalan na po. Ano rin kaya yung mensahe na pinapakita nitong nangyaring arrest warrant against FPRRT? Specifically, siguro dun sa mga iba pa na balak ding may sariling pulisiya na gawin na medyo taliwas dun sa ina-advocate ng Pilipinas na human rights dapat yung nananaig, ma'am.
Ang mensahe nito sa lahat ng legislators, no? Kasi kami yung gumagawa ng polisiya is that, and also the executive who may want to formulate policies and programs, you can be as creative as you want, and you can be as determined as you want, but you have to operate within the bounds of the law. It is always the law. First and foremost, our Constitution, and then the body of laws that we have promulgated as a republic. So yun lang, batas lang dapat ang manaig. Yun ang message ko. And also, I have a message for voters, ano? Alam nyo, naintindihan ko kung minsan naiinip pa maraming Pilipino, lalo na sa ating justice system. And we want drastic and immediate results at all costs. Pero hindi po pwede yun eh. It's a double-edged sword. Lalo na po yung mga walang kapangyarihan. Lalo na ang mga mahihirap. Di ba nga madalas sinasabi, may hustisya para sa mayaman, may hustisya para sa mahirap. Eh what if wala na talagang hustisya? Kaya ako natutuwa rin sa mga developments, hindi lang sa kaso na to, but in general, pag nakakita ko ng mga kasong nabibigyan ng hustisya, ng katarungan, under this administration, at least I see great efforts on the part of the President to promote a culture of respect for the law and to establish the rule of law in a country which otherwise would be chaotic. Mga kababayan, ang isang bansang walang batas at walang rule of law, parang wild, wild west. Anything goes. Anybody can take justice with his or her own hands. Maraming magkakaroon ng karahasan, pagpatay, at mas lalong maaapi ang mga mahihirap. Kaya kailangan natin ng ating mga batas. At syempre, pananawagan na rin sa ating justice system. Bilis-bilisan nyo naman, mga dear. Dahil nakaka-frustrate din pag mabagal ang hustisya.
Thank you, Earl. Anything you'd like to ask? If there are no further questions, we will invite Ma'am Geraldine to give her closing or final remarks.
As a Filipino, it saddens me to see developments that may potentially divide the country. But as a public servant and as a legislator, I realize that these developments are but natural consequences of the decisions of the parties involved to carry out policies that operated outside the boundaries of the law. And this cannot be tolerated. As a legislator and a public servant, kinakailangan po naming i-uphold ang rule of law. Bagamat maaaring hindi mag-agree ang mga ilang tao sa aming postura, sa aming stand, wala po kaming choice, kundi sundin ang ating saligang batas, ang ating mga batas. At bilang bansa na rin, ang Pilipinas ay dapat magpakita na mayroong rule of law. Alam nyo, may nakausap ako mga investors. Ang sabi nila, ang problema namin, pag nakikita namin ang isang bansang walang rule of law, natatakot kami. Kasi arbitrarily, the laws are applied or not, wala kaming kasigurahan, wala kaming stability. And even from an economic point of view, the rule of law attracts investors and provides a secure and safe climate for potential investors. Now, as a nation also, I think this is just a personal suggestion. Lumabas tayo unilaterally from the ICC. I think it's about time bumalik tayo sa ICC. At ipakita natin sa buong mundo na ang itong bansang ito ay gumagalang sa ating mga batas at sa mga international laws. Wala pong masama doon, mga kababayan. Ang batas, ang ating tanging sandigan at proteksyon sa pang-aabuso, pati namin nasa mga posisyon ng kapangyarihan. Ito lamang ang kasiguruhan na merong pagbabatayan ang ating mga hukuman upang bigyan tayo ng katarungan kung tayo ay naapi o naagrabyado. So sana po pananawagan, bumalik na po tayo sa ICC. We pride ourselves as a nation that recognizes a rule-based order around the world. Then let's walk the talk. Let's go back to the folds of the ICC because naniniwala ko wala naman dapat tayong ikatakot. Dahil naniniwala rin po ako ng ating Pangulo ay desidido na i-uphold ang rule of law at wala siyang itatago. Yun lang po.